Just last week, we talked about the sanctions that the U.S. placed on China for their human rights violations, and now China is hitting back with sanctions of their own. China announced sanctions against U.S. officials in retaliation against Washington's sanctions against senior Chinese officials over Beijing's treatment of minority Uyghur Muslims. President Donald Trump and his Democratic opponent Joe Biden have contrasting views and records on criminal justice issues that have risen in prominence in the 2020 election. Trump has responded to recent widespread protest by signing an executive order taking steps towards police reform, including encouraging police to use the latest standards for use of force, banning chokeholds unless an officer's life was in danger, and he also called for legislation to do more. The former vice president has resisted activist calls to defund the police, instead promising to invest $300 million in a program that gives grants to hire more diverse officers and train them to develop less adversarial relationships with communities.
We have to, in my view, change the way the entire criminal justice system functions and the prison system.
California's governor placed new restrictions on businesses as coronavirus cases and hospitalizations soared. Additionally, the state's two largest school districts in Los Angeles and San Diego said children would stay home at the beginning of the school year. Dr. Anthony Fauci is asking states to stick to guidelines to snuff out a surge in cases, while President Trump and others close to him have grown increasingly frustrated with the response of health experts to the pandemic. Fauci ascribed the surge in coronavirus cases to the country's failure to shut down completely and then a rush to reopen too soon. On Monday, hundreds of firefighters battled through a second day from air, land, and water to save a U.S. war vessel that caught fire in a San Diego shipyard. The number of sailors and civilians injured in the blaze has now risen to nearly 60.